based on the reflectivity, this is how much flash I need for a good picture, or how much light I need for a good picture. This light, working independently, is going to say, based on what this light is telling me, this is how much flash I need to apply, and it's going to work together to get you a good exposure. Has anybody ever tried getting a picture and the focus square turns into a red box instead of a green box? What that's basically telling us is that there's not enough contrast for the camera to focus. So if you're up against a black wall or a white wall or something like that, camera says, I don't know if it's going to work, give it a shot. But with this, it's going to accomplish two feats. Number one, being a constant light, it's going to help my camera to focus faster. Number two, and anytime I'm shooting pictures of people, I always force the flash, because no matter how we sit, there's a shadow someplace on our face. Unless you're looking directly into the sun and then you're squinting, there's shadows everywhere. Shadows make me nuts. So I always have a little bit of flash on, and it fills in the shadows. So this side, if I just have one light on, for instance, if I take a picture right now, I'm going to have a shadow on the downward opposite side of the single light. So this light is going to stay on. It's going to fill in my shadows, and this is going to fire. It's going to give me the stop action, deep penetrating colors. So I just made this camera basically into a point and shoot, easy to use camera that I can also take into semi-automatic control or full manual control as well. 99% of the diving population will never outgrow this camera system. It's pretty good stuff. Any questions at all? Too much information?
So, so if you're light, you're just questioning the flash. So if the flash is not an auto, depending on where you got the intensity set, your video light could negate it even wanting to flash? Or no?
The other way around.
The other way around?
Yeah. Okay, so what we have, I didn't get to the rest of this here. So we had, thank you for bringing me back to Earth. I get pretty excited with this. So we're going to have our 3000 lumens, 1500, 750, our full automatic setting. Is anybody doing any night diving?
Oh yeah.
Okay. White lights will tend to scare the animals away, and it will affect our night vision, so we can't see all that well. Anybody work in a dark room as a kid? Always worked under red lights. It didn't affect the film. So in here, we have a stealth mode. Now we can be diving along, and we can be looking at the creatures. We're not scaring them away because it's a nice, safe red light. If this is a simulation of the flash, let me see. Right now, if I was to take a picture with white light, this light with too much red would overpower the light. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this off and push and hold until all three of the blue lights start to flash. I'm going to tap that once, turn it off, turn it back on, and now when it detects, did I get you? I'm sorry.
Oh,
When it detects a strobe firing, this light will turn itself off. So it's the strobe that turns the photo video light off, not the other way around. So this way, in the red mode, I can be looking at the creatures, come over and take my picture. The red won't overpower the pictures, and it builds itself back up to full light. So that's a pretty cool feature to have with this light as well.
And that's on the auto light.
Yes.
What if you got one of the other lights that's not auto?
You want to upgrade?
2500.
I think they're out there on the floor.
It is only available on the lights. We have a 2300 lumen light, and then we have the 3000 lumen light with the auto dim features to it. So,
No, I'm saying I have the 2500.
yeah, that doesn't have the capability.
Okay, so what? So then what happens with my flash?
It's going to, when your flash fires, that light will stay on.
So they're competing.
Not really. You're still getting the fill shadows, the fill light coming in from the side. Usually if I'm using a strobe, I would have my other light on at 25% power level, just enough to help the camera to focus
Okay,
and to fill in the shadows.
so come down.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, just step it down. At 2500 lumens, that's a lot of light.
Yeah.
Most of the time when I'm shooting a strobe in the automatic or the manual settings, I'll start at about 25%. Biggest thing of artificial light sources, no matter how powerful they are, the effective range underwater is going to be about 6 to 8 feet. The light has to travel that far through your medium 600 times denser than air and then travel back to the camera, and that water is just sucking the power out of the lights. So the rough rule of thumb underwater, fingertips and fin tips. You want to be able to reach out and touch your subject with your fingers, or at most extend your leg, and the tip of your fins is about the effective range for an artificial light source. If you think you're close enough, get closer. Get closer, and get closer. As close as you can get to your subject, the better your pictures are going to be.
Is it under lower light conditions, or, if you're in a clear water, clear water, like Cosmo or something, not around here.
Right. Yeah, I would still get as close as you can to your subject. We don't have any type of an optical zoom on here, primarily because it's very difficult to keep the barrel lined up with a 1-inch square sensor. But in addition to that, you don't want to do any type of a telephoto because you're actually reducing the amount of light that can come back into your camera. So you want to have that field of vision as wide as you can get it and zoom with your fins, not your fingertips. You physically want to get yourself as close as you possibly can to the subject. Some things underwater don't like you that close, so just be very wary. Barracudas, eels sometimes get a little aggressive when you get too close to them. But again, just get yourself as close as you can to your subject as possible. Any questions at all? Right now, this camera has got a field of vision from about 6 inches out to infinity. We do have a super macro setting on here that's going to let you shoot 4 inches to about 8 inches. We do, however, have a super macro lens capability, and this is just going to mount on our handy dandy little lens caddy. It's got a leash on here. I would tie this off to my wrist strap of my camera, so if it does fall off, it's just going to be attached to the wrist strap as opposed to getting lost. This is just going to pop off and it goes right in front of the camera. Again, you want to have water between the outside of the housing and the inside of the lens. This is going to allow you to shoot from 1 inch out to about 7 inches. Really high quality, again, a 2-element glass lens. So there's some pretty good stuff. Has anybody ever seen pictures half underwater, half above water?
Yeah.
Those are accomplished with fisheye lenses, and we've got a dandy. This is a 0.5 lens. It's going to effectively increase our field of vision from about 46 degrees to out over 100 degrees. I'm going to pass this around and let you see how to do this. Again, this is just going to pop up on the front and just start taking pictures with it. Your field of vision is absolutely incredible. Again, this is how you get your over-under pictures. If you ever see a picture of a coral head here, a diver in the middle of the picture, and then a dive boat up on the surface, those are all done with this type of a lens also. So what I'm going to invite you to do.
Are those that's the same lens you would use to get more visibility in a wreck too?
Yes,
right?
yeah. Say if I'm trying to take a picture of this whole group without that lens, I'm backing up and backing up and backing up, trying to keep everybody in the frame. With this, I just pop it on the front. I'm getting closer and closer. I'm keeping everybody in the lens, increasing the detail of my subjects. It's a pretty fancy lens.
Does it matter how it's turned on there?
You don't try not to do it like this, or else you'll start to see this. If you're shooting horizontally or vertically, you can do that. Just try and keep the sunshades level with it. Just look across the room and see what you can see from side to side. Hold the camera stable.
Okay.
Okay. And I'm just going to pop that in place.
I don't really see a difference.
See what you can see from side to side here.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh yeah, nice.
There's the reaction I was waiting for.
Yeah, normally this may just have the 3 people here, but everybody else, and all of a sudden it's like wider.
So it allows you to stay close and still get a wide.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if you're
Because
trying to
you
get a
want to
picture
be
of a big
close.
wreck or something like that, you can put this on there and expand your field of vision out to over 100 degrees.
And still stay close
Turn
enough to have the lights on.
Okay. It just went to sleep.
Yep.
Okay, so look across the room there.
Much better.
If you look at it also, there's no vignetting, there's no distortion or barreling around any of the
Yeah, it's
edges.
just-
This is just an absolutely perfect lens. This will go back and it will retrofit any DC camera that SeaLife has ever made. One of the real nice things about the camera company is that we don't manufacture our own cameras, but we find a housing or a camera that we want, and then we design a housing to go around it. But all of the accessories are retroactive to everything else we've made in the DC series. My office probably didn't do justice to it, it was too small.
No, that's okay, we'll do it back then, so we-
Yeah, just that.
Alright.
Okay.
Do it again.
Now this lens is gonna retail for $499. Competitive lenses out on the market are anywhere between $800 to $1,200. So this is a pretty incredible lens.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try showing it to the camera.
Show the camera again.
You try doing that? Is it working? Okay. All right. Once again, with the lens caddy, you have two different options, one of which you can take this little knob off of the bottom of it and mount it on the bottom of the tray. But if you're down in the dirt and the gravel and everything else, you have the opportunity to scratch your lens. So we again just pop this right up on the top. We're going along, we've got our left hand supporting the camera system. I usually make an L with my thumb and finger to hold the camera. This way I can hold the front of it with my 3 fingers, I can work my shutter button, I can work my dials, I can work my buttons with my thumb. This just seems to be a very easy configuration to work the camera system as well. Okay. Any questions? You guys are too easy.